G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to War Thunder with Mags, and welcome back to Sim Battle's Enduring Confrontation. So once again, we're flying out in the Battle Rating 1 to Battle Rating 4 category, and I do mean we this time, as today I am joined by Deadmeat. Now Deadmeat's flying the US Marine Corps F4U Corsair at Sim BR 3.3. I'm of course being a little bit of a trolley bastard, bringing out the BR 3.0 Premium Arsender. And once again, this flight will be recorded from the replay system as it was flown in VR, and I still don't have my software set up for that just yet. So, first things first, while we're flying out the combat zone, in the comments of the last video I was asked to give a little bit of my first impressions of the Reverb G2 HMD. Now, I do have a video on the G2 covering this plan, just as soon as I've had a little bit more time to feel out the HMD. Actually, part of the reason for getting it was that I found the VR coverage of flight simulation, and really flight sim coverage in regard to current hardware in general, to be lackluster at best. So, bugger it, I'll do it myself. But for a quick first impressions, this is without question the best head-mounted display for flight simulation on the market at the moment. It's got the highest resolution with 2160 by 2160 pixels per eye, and the inside-out tracking is fantastic, providing you keep some light in the room you're using it in, and you have it calibrated correctly. The catch is, at this resolution, you need some pretty serious hardware to drive it, especially in already hardware-heavy flight simulations, such as DCS World or Microsoft Flight Simulator. I mean, I'm currently running a new RTX 3080 GPU, but my CPU is still my old 1070X. I can feel my CPU bottlenecking me on hardware-intensive simulations. Now, thankfully, I already have a new CPU on order, so that won't last long. But if you're considering a G2, to really get the most out of it, you really need to have a reasonably up-to-date PC. A 2000 series GPU at least, and roughly an AMD 3000 series CPU or equivalent to really get the most out of it. Now that said, if you happen to have a system that meets those requirements, the G2 is fantastic. It looks great, it tracks well, it's not particularly heavy. It's only 74 grams heavier than the original Oculus CV1, which is really impressive when you consider the CV1 actually used towers in order to do its tracking, while the G2 is completely inside-out tracking, or it's got cameras in it that look outside in order to track its location inside of a space, so you don't need towers. The only complaints I really have with it are the fact that it uses Microsoft Mixed Reality as part of its software package, and that is really unoptimized, and it's a bit crap. And the controllers that come with it, the actual virtual reality hand controllers that work with the G2, seem to be very power hungry. They're not USB rechargeable either. You've actually got to get AA batteries, I think they are, and put them into the base of the controllers. Thankfully, you don't actually need to turn them on all that often once you've got the software set up, because, well, most VR titles for flight simulation don't actually require them, unless you really want to use them. But anyways, we have just arrived at the engagement zone, and this one's going to be pretty short and pretty brutal. So I've already picked up the first aircraft. Deadmeat's broken off tracking a second with his Corsair at the moment, and we've picked up a 109G. Who did not see us coming at all, and we've already split him in half. The Arsender takes its first victim. Now again, this was taken from the replay, so unfortunately I couldn't get the comms for it, which is a real shame, because Deadmeat and I were talking constantly through this engagement. Now, he's just taken down his first kill. In fact, that's him cackling the guns just there. But he's also spotted a third target that he's going to engage, so I'm coming back around to acquire him. That's Deadmeat going vertical in the F4U. And I'm tracking on his location at the moment. He's spotted a third aircraft. It's another 109G. So I'm forming into his number 2 position. And there's the 109 ahead of us. Now at this point, somebody took a swing at Deadmeat, so he broke off. He wasn't sure where the fire came from. We will come back to that one later. So he breaks off, and I take lead on the 109. Now a Hellcat does do a crossover and takes a swing, although he gets closer to hitting me than he does the 109. But it doesn't matter. Pop the tail off the 109. That is the second kill of this match. And as you can see in the background behind there, Deadmeat's actually slotting into my number 2 position, keeping an eye on my 6 while I'm now running lead. if you're flying in a group in any kind of simulation environment, this is absolutely the best way to do it. If you're pushing, the person you're flying with should be covering your ass. If they're pushing, you should be covering their ass. And don't try and fix the roles, interchange between the two based on what happens. You'll notice your survivability goes straight through the roof if you do so. Now, the third target here, we actually had a little bit of difficulty finding. In fact, I had actually broken off to leave and go start hunting targets elsewhere, when Dead Meat spotted something moving extremely low and extremely slow around our soft targets, popping them. So, I span it back around to come back and take a look and see if we could find out what the hell it was. So, the final target, what is it? Well, we haven't worked it out yet, but it's a HE51. Somebody brought out a HE51 to start popping soft targets to earn points to bring out a later plane, and as it turned out, this was really effective. I'd feel really guilty about this, but this HE51 was harder to kill than any of the other players that we encountered this match, and it was actually more successful on point score because of the number of soft targets it actually managed to take out. Now, somebody asked in the comment section of the last video about AI. Yes, there are AI in the matches. All of the kills that I'm showing are confirmed players. And this guy was frankly making Dead Meat and I kind of look a little stupid. But there was some fantastic flying here. I really enjoyed the way it actually turned out. So I'm just going to let it run through towards the end. And that was the point that I finally confirmed what the target was. Rolling over to re-engage with Dead Meat, and I'm going to slot into his number 2 position. He's taking the lead because he spotted the target. That's him firing tracer at it at the moment. But the HE51 pilot, this guy is no amateur. He's just dodging around Dead Meat shots like it was nothing. This was particularly beautiful, flying into the sunset. And then just this nice pair rollover back onto target. I can't really describe what this looked like or felt like doing this in VR. It was just... This is what flight simulation is all about. Dead Meat slotted out so I could take a shot, and he just ducks underneath us into the trees. Into the vertical, and I'm resetting to dive back in. You see Dead Meat crossing over in the background here, and the HE51 crossing over. He's taking his shot. And once again, the 51 has dodged out of the way. But as fun as this has been, and as beautiful as this is with the sunset and the god rays, it is time for all good things to come to an end. Anyways, ladies and gents, hope you enjoyed this one, and thank you very much for watching. I will have the software. I'm currently in the process of setting the software up to actually record from the HMD, so fingers crossed. We should have some live coverage, and we'll see how that goes in comparison to the replay system. I should be able to get some decent resolutions using the OBS plugin that I'm looking at for VR. Hopefully, we'll be able to get the same resolution that I'm running now. Anyways guys, until then, remember to click that like button if you did, share and subscribe if you want to see more, and as always, take care.